Hello, friends. I am back with an amazing session. I love doing these sessions. We always get amazing feedback when we bring artists onto these sessions to share their experience through the seven keys and their experience of these workshops as well. So, a big, massive welcome to Nina, Annette, and Lottie. Hello.
Hello.
Big thank you for tuning in with us today because I know you're taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. So it means a lot to myself and everyone else tuning in as well. So I'm going to be asking some questions to our guests today about their experience using the seven keys. Please feel free to ask questions as we go along. I will fire questions away, and if we can answer them, we will. So, Nina, I'm going to start with you because you're at the top of my screen and you're thinking, no, don't. So, Nina, gosh, we've just been back in touch recently because of the workshops, and you found the workshops last year, didn't you, for the first time?
I did.
And you didn't have an artwork. I keep
I didn't have
sharing.
an artwork. I was burnt out at my ordinary job, and I saw you were doing a little interview, a little live thing, showing interest in the workshops, and you were up a mountain somewhere, and something about that, you being up a mountain talking to us about your up and coming workshop. I just thought, you know what? I don't have any art to sell. It wasn't that I had, stuff to sell. I didn't have anything. There you were. And something just said, go for it. Go
Oh,
for it.
wow.
And I said to my partner, I'm going to go for this. He's like, but, you're not doing art. I was doing lots of other things, but not art. I said, doesn't matter. And I painted one artwork because I didn't have one artwork
That's amazing.
to choose. So I just painted it. It's nothing like what I ended up doing, which are sort of landscapes for now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Oh,
was so afraid to make that transition because I already had a small audience for my other job, my crochet work. And I thought, oh my goodness, they're going to say, oh, Nina's trying her hand at this. Oh, please, the embarrassment. I'm not trained in art in any way, just A level. And
mhm.
and since then, so many wonderful, wonderful things have happened that it must have been divine that I saw your advertisement.
Oh my
Really, really
gosh.
wonderful.
It's crazy, but it just shows you everyone out there. One artwork is all you need. I say it every year, but it's so true.
Yeah.
So, can you cast your mind back to how you felt back then? When you're taking the workshops, I know you had that intuitive sense that I need to do this, but was there some fear,
Yeah.
like you say, around, maybe not being trained and it's been a long time, or I don't want to put words into your mouth. So, you just
No,
tell me
no.
what you
Um,
felt.
I thought obviously I thought these workshops are for people who already could and were doing. I didn't think it was for me necessarily to jump into this world of art. That to me wasn't my place. I mean, I just had such imposter syndrome, and here were all these wonderful artists, and I couldn't bear to share my work. To share my work would have been just far too vulnerable.
Yeah.
But then I followed your advice, just put it up, dare to share it, be honest. Not my forte. I was all about the brand, me
Hmm.
in my
Hmm.
other job as a brand. How could I suddenly be this? But it
Yeah.
was, it's deep inside, whatever is deep. And I thought I'll follow that. I'll try to bring that out. I'll just dare to be honest. And people really liked what I put out. I couldn't believe it. And that this one artwork, that the first one that I made, somebody offered to buy it. And I didn't have a clue how to price it or anything. In the end, she didn't buy it, but that didn't matter. Like, somebody
Yeah.
was
You've got
interested. I
them.
had already won.
Mhm.
That was my success, was already that was worth the entrance fee,
Yeah.
because I did the free workshops, and then I dared to sign up for
Yeah.
the seven keys.
And that must have been a big decision for you because there you were just a week or two before with no inclination to make art, and then all of a sudden you've made a piece, and now you're going to sign up for this course. Like, what
Yeah.
was going on in your head?
I know what was, I don't
Love
know.
it.
I mean, obviously, I signed up for the course, and it paid for itself twice over, more than
Mhm.
twice over, at the first exhibition, which I
Yeah,
put out. I did the seven keys in September
yeah,
2021,
yeah.
and then my first exhibition was February 2022, just this year.
Well
and
done. Well
I sold
done.
almost everything, and
Oh my gosh.
pay for my course twice. And like, if you go on to my stuff, I am not no Picasso. I'm not a technical painter, but what I got from your lessons was just do it and believe in it. You know, own it, trust it, be honest, share your process, say why you did it, dig deep. And people connected with that. And I noticed that the people connected were people just like me, with my hang-ups, just the same.
Yeah.
And 5 people have bought now twice from me. So I would say, if you're going to sell an artwork, just be ready to do that again with that.
Yeah.
Maybe that one person could buy all your work. You never know. You just don't
Yeah,
know.
well, it happened to Sharon this year, last year, sorry, where someone just saw her work and they commissioned her to do 15 pieces. It was like worth £25,000. One person commissioned that. You just literally don't know. It's insane. And that goes back to my point of what I was saying in the workshop today about having that thread, because people will likely come back and buy from you again. And you've sold internationally, haven't you, Nina, as
Yes.
well?
Yes. I say that I'm still surprised. I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
America and Australia. I've met so many wonderful people from your courses. And Ireland, I have to count the Republic of Ireland as a separate country, because, when you're talking about your international sales, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And yes, lots of people locally have bought. I've done 10 artworks for commission. And
Wow.
one thing I'd say about commissions, I realized that I'm an artist, and the responsibility that brings. Because one of my commissions was tough. It was a tough one, and I thought, I'll ask my brother. He's a technical, brilliant painter, knows everything, just can do anything. I'm not like that, not that kind of painter. But I couldn't ask him. It was me. The client wanted my vision of his photograph. There was nobody else could do it. And that, made me realize that this is a thing that you have. It's kind of, well, like a gift, something that people can use for good, for just for healing.
Yeah.
In my case, my art. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyone sitting here now who feels that their work has no worth, it's not going to make any impact, it really has the potential to. It's one thing when you start realizing the impact your work can have on someone else, how it can speak to someone else. Don't belittle the work that you're creating, is what I guess I'm trying to say, because you can have an impact in so many ways, even if you think your work is rubbish, which most people at some point do. You have the potential to impact other people. And so what would you say, Nina? So I'm going to try and unpick. So you had no artwork in the September, and then you created that one piece, and then you took part in the course, which lasts 8 weeks. And then what were the steps then that were really significant for you? Do you think that's when you started to create that collection that we've been talking about today? Or what was it that just struck you that thought, right, this is what I'm going to do next?
The signing up to the Keys was a commitment to me, and I decided to put on an exhibition, just get a collection together.
Yeah.
And I think the mindset was everything. Then why I did it. And it sort of snowballed all by itself, because when I started to say why I did it, it was like a honey trap for bees, for artistic bees. And they were asking me questions. Well, you're at this exhibition, how did you get here? I'd love to do it. And before you knew it, I sounded like you, Michelle. I was telling them just how to do it, because it just sort of snowballed. I would say that it being online was my way forward. And I had some experience of being online because of my crochet business, and being willing to take risks I find that exhilarating. I was very happy to take the risk because any little risk I'd done in the process of this art business had paid dividends. Following, your lessons was just, I just followed your instructions. I did. I did what I was told.
Good.
I did
Good. You did the work, yeah. And did you find during the 8 weeks that you were making progress, or did it take
Oh,
time for you to settle into the 7 keys? How did
no,
that
well,
work?
it was, I was pretty dedicated to it. I was still working in my other job, and I still am, sort of 50-50. But
Mm,
I find that if I did my homework and it just, one thing led to another pretty quickly. I
yeah.
didn't have long to wait because I just, I think I was lucky enough to just believe. I think
Mm,
having the
mm,
self-belief, and I knew it wasn't about how good you were as an artist, because if you're looking at all these people's work, there's always somebody better.
mm,
And I knew that I'm not the best, but I have I drive, real will to do it. And
mm,
I think that knowing that there's somebody out there who will just, you'll make a little creation that wasn't there before, and it'll allow somebody else to dive deep into whatever that says inside them. And
yeah.
that was really wonderful, because that is what happened. People started to cry when they told me why this artwork meant something to them. They skipped home delighted. They showed people. They were so thrilled to have it. And
Mm,
I was astounded by that, because I'm not as good as people who are considered good, Now I like
yeah.
what I do. I like what I do. And that I tried when I was choosing other artworks since, to dive into my why. I realized that I wanted to make more of the things that I enjoy doing. Those artworks where the time just flew by. Those are the ones I knew I wanted to make more of. And I tried to talk about those when I was doing my homework for
Mm,
the keys.
yeah. There's a great quote, and I think it's from someone called Paul Klein, and it goes along the lines of, um, by being an artist and showing ourselves, we enable others to see themselves. It's something like that, which I just think what you've just described there. And I think
Yeah.
one of the things that when you wrote back to me about your success that rang true as well is that you said about the money, and I think, yeah, the money is great, but that feeling what you've just described there, when you sell your artwork and the feeling that that other person has, and when we tap into that, that's what sells. And the more that
Yes.
we can do
Yes.
that, I do see, I'm sharing this because I can see some people selling from a place of needing the money, and I get it because I've been there, and I've been there this year, and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
in times that we're living in, it's easy to sell from that place. But as much as possible, if you can bring it back to this and really sell from your why and get connected and get actually passionate about, this is the work that I make and I want to get it out in the world, and that's what's driving you rather than the need for money, as hard as it is, it will help. Um, I've been in that place before, and it's a different energy when you're putting it out into the world. Even if you're too scared and you think, I don't want to put myself out in the world because I don't want anyone to see me. If you bring it back to find your voice, find your people, and you might just need that next one person. Just put it in front of one person and start there. You don't have to go all out and have thousands of followers on social media. You can do it in your own way. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nina.
Thank
Have you
you.
got any advice, Nina, for anyone who may be thinking about taking part in the course, but they're scared or they're freaked out? Or have you got any advice?
Yeah. Um, Put your reservations aside and allow it to work for you. You're not the masses. This is you. And if you imagine that Michelle is talking to you, she is, you are, you're talking to us, each one individually, because it is very individual. And our individual why is where you sell your art. Your art hardly will be maybe never seen or never heard unless the why is a real thing. It's the
Mm,
reality of your work that will sell it in the end.
yeah. Yeah, thank you. And well done, Nina. Well done for last year. You had no artwork and now you've sold a crazy amount of artwork.
Yeah, I've lost track.
Congratulations. International, you're a website. I mean, that is impressive. Well done.
Thank
I might
you.
come back
Thank you.
if there are any other questions. Please fire them away while we've got people here who've taken part in the course. Let us know in the chat if you've got questions. Annette, I'm going to come to you next. Hello. So Annette, remind me, how did you first find the workshops? How did you first find United ArtSpace? Can you remember?
I think probably somewhere on social media.
Yeah,
possibly
an advert, probably. Yeah,
or something like that. And I'm British, but I live in the south of France. And I'm a little bit different to Nina's situation because I have been making art for a few years, and I've had exhibitions. But I'm also a workshop tutor.
Yeah,
and I teach kind of urban sketching, travel sketching, things like that where I live here, which I love as well. And I suppose when I looked at it at first, I thought, well, you know, being self-employed in any business is really challenging, and it's also in an art capacity, it's kind of even more lonely in many ways because it's just you. It's just you and your thoughts.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really appealed to me with the 7 Keys was that it was kind of lots of questions. You know, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
and who are you talking to? And of course, then it made me start thinking, well, probably I have different who's. I have 2 who's at least.
Yeah.
And of course, with joining the course opens up a kind of gateway to meeting loads of other people doing just what I'm doing in their own way.
Yeah.
So it feels a lot less lonely immediately.
Yeah.
And I had a huge reservation in that because it's always very hot here in the summer months. September is traditionally really busy. And I thought, oh no, I'm just not going to be able to do these videos. I'm just not going to keep up. I'm just going to miss the whole thing. But that actually didn't really matter because I just caught up with it all over the following weeks and months. And, you know, and I downloaded all the worksheets so I could do them kind of when I had time, basically.
Yeah.
And it was just an eye opener. It's been absolutely magic to see all of the different artists in the groups, and the the range of work is just mind-blowing, and it just proves how enormous the scope of art is when you come to selling and marketing. And it's really, you know, that's really it gives you such a lot of kind of, it's just like blows your mind. You think, wow, you know, I've been stuck in my little room doing my art, unaware that all this is out there.
Yeah. It's so easy to do, isn't it, Annette? Because you do end up down, you know, you see the world through your own lens. And you're on social media seeing that through your own lens. And then, like you say, then you go into like this other world and you're like, hold on a minute. And I really like what you say about everyone is on their own path, and every one of us is so different. Like in our groups, we are all so different. We have a massive array of people who are like the beginner or advanced, different mediums. Like Annette says, it's crazy. But what brings us all together is this desire to be a true artist, making amazing work and getting it out into the world. And that's what we're all following. So yeah, thank you for reminding me of that because it's important.
Well, I think it is, and you know, on your list of the 7 keys, you know, it's a lot of questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I would go through like 2 or 3 questions, and then I'd have to keep going back again, kind of going up and down the ladder. Like, well, I thought I knew that I wanted to do that, but actually maybe I need to go back again Just re-examine that and why that is. And it's not, the other thing is that it's really not an instant fix. You know, we all hope that there's going to be a magic wand and it's just going to be obvious and we're going to have an Etsy shop, or we're going to have a website, or we're going to have an exhibition, and we're going to have collectors all over the world. And it's just not, it doesn't happen like that. It evolves, and we all need different things. And it's sort of, as the more that you delve in and the more that you talk about what you do, it becomes clearer, I think. And the 7 Keys has enabled me a lot with that, because I was otherwise sort of just on my own and talking to my friends and family. And much as I love them, they weren't really the right ears for the conversation.
They're not the Who. Because I understand, because oh my gosh, when I was setting up United ArtSpace, you know, none of my friends or family really understood what I was trying to do, and that's where I was saying in workshop 3 about really thinking about the people that you surround yourself with, as much as we love our friends and family, because sometimes they just don't understand. And so they can then project their fear onto us because they're scared for us, and they're thinking, what is this crazy thing you're trying to do? You know, you're not going to, it's not possible.
And I think the thing is it's way too easy to get bogged down in the nuts and bolts of running a business, and forget that actually, you know, all of those things can be sorted out. You know, there's always someone else who knows how to set up a website, or who knows how to do all those things. As an artist, you don't need to know all that.
No, you don't. Great point. You don't.
And I think we put a lot of, as self-employed people, as generally, you tend to try and wear all the hats all the time. And the 7 Keys helps you like stay a bit more grounded in your artist self.
That's good.
And keep, you know, just take a few of those hats off for a while, and being surrounded in the group with, you know, with other artists is very good for that, because otherwise it's very easy to slip into that, you know, slip down that slope of all of that kind of commercial stuff.
Like jump into the how. Once you've even got your business going, and this is why people return to the 7 Keys time and time again, because this is why I do it too, because I like Annette says, you'll get to a certain point and it's going really well, and then you're focusing on the how all the time. And so this is why I love running these workshops, because it forces me to go back to the 7 Keys, because it's when we get derailed and we keep focusing on the how, we do miss. We have to go back to the why. And it made me laugh, Annette, when you said, you know, I was asking myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I've got to certain points of zero. I've actually asked myself the same, like, why am I doing this? Because when it gets tough and things are going wrong, and you're getting kind of life taken over, that is the part that keeps you going. Like, why am I doing this actually? And the more you get tuned into that, you know, I've had to ask myself big questions this year related to my why, and it's given me massive fuel to keep going. Like, yes, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and reconnecting again with that connection. And like Annette was saying as well, you evolve. So checking in with this is so important, because you go down the rabbit hole and spend a year doing your website and pricing and doing all the things and the exhibitions. And in that time, you're evolving and you're not probably realizing it. Annette, what do you think has been the most, you know, the most transformative for you in terms of the 7 Keys? Was there a key in particular that really stood out, or has it been all of them together combined?
That's a really hard question. They all have their merits when you look at them, but I suppose there's a couple that I do fall back on, because in the suite of the videos that you have, there's one on mindset, And, you know, I've had my fair share of wobbles, and it's just really nice occasionally to dip into those and just remind myself that, you know, take a breath. It's okay. There is a reason that you're feeling this. And so I fall back on the mindset ones. And the who, I think, is really valuable, because that kind of overlaps for me with the what a lot. There's a big crossover there all the time. And I kind of jump between the two all the time.
I know. I remember us talking about this actually, haven't we? Because we've talked about how they will be separate, because it's different purposes when you're doing workshops and selling your art, different purposes. So there definitely will be two different who, but then there also will be this combination. And we've talked about this before, haven't we? I remember giving some advice in the group, as much as possible, fusing those together.
And so those two, I suppose, are my preference. But you know, I generally go back to those. And but also on the community side, just the whole range of ideas that the group can give you unintentionally. So you're kind of, you know, you're listening to what other people are talking about, and you think, why didn't I think of that? That's brilliant. That's amazing. You know, so there's all that just kind of feeds you, and you might not do anything with it for another year, but the seed is planted.
Yeah, I think someone else has just said that. Kate's just said, I had no idea there were so many opportunities until I joined this community, because like what you just said, Annette, listening to Michelle, watching the lessons, listening to the community, you learn so much from everyone else as well as the course material, because we have an amazing global community. It is amazing. Our community is lovely. So I'm going to go to the chat in a second and check if there's any questions. Annette, do you have any advice for anyone who's maybe thinking about taking the course? What advice would you give anyone listening in?
Well, I guess for everybody at the moment, sadly, money is an issue. And you know, the reality is it's not an easy world at the moment. As a person that wants to make art a living, it's a tiny drop in the ocean for a lifetime of kind of benefit. You know, you're investing in yourself. So, you know, I'll admit I had I had to really think about it. But I think as an investment in yourself and your future, that you can fall back on it kind of forever. But also for anything. It doesn't have to be for that one artwork that you chose last week. It could be any kind of business project concept. It applies. So once you structure, and you know, you can download all the stuff on the website, so you have it all. So it's relatively small in the longer term. But I know it's easy to say that at the moment. It's tough.
Yeah, but it is, like you say, it is an investment, and you can use this forever. You will use it forever, because like Annette says, it can be applied to anything. You know, you could apply this to any industry. I just focus on artists because that's what I know, and that's the industry I've been in. But I use this framework for all sorts of things. So using the lessons and learning how to use the framework is the ultimate. That's what I want to get you through in the 8 weeks. I want to teach you how to use the framework. And then, like Nina said, then afterwards, and Annette said the same, of downloading everything. And you can do this in your own time, because I know that's sometimes something that can put people off. You feel that you've got to be at the live sessions and you've got to do it in the time frame. You really don't. We've set it up so there is a live element so that we can be there to support you through it. But we had lots of people take part last year that didn't get involved in the live part, and they just downloaded everything and just did it in their own time. So it really is up to you how you do it. We've set the 7 keys up. So there are different ways of learning. We've done audio, video, written. We've done longer pieces of information, short pieces, really tailoring it to everybody's learning styles, because people learn differently and consume differently. We do some in a live format. We do everything so that you can download it on double speed. If you're like me, I like everything on double speed now. If I'm listening to something on normal speed, it's like, why is this so slow? It's quite scary, really. I was talking about this with someone the other day, how we're just consuming things on a fast level. Like, our brains are not designed to process stuff at that level, but it is fun. And you can get through things faster. But it's set up so we've got loads of different ways of consuming. And there's lots of things that we implement throughout the course to help you take action as well. And we make it fun. There's going to be lots of pineapple conversation over the 8 weeks. There's a really funny video about to come out, actually. This is so funny. You'll have to look out for this on social media. There was a video with me and the pineapple balanced on my head, and I do the whole video with the pineapple on my head, and then I wobble it at the end just to prove that it was balanced. Oh, it's nuts. Right, so Annette, thank you so much. I might come back to you in a minute if we've got some questions.
Sure.
Lottie, I'm going to come to you next. Lottie.
Hello.
Now, a lot of you will know Lottie you'll have seen Lottie commenting, because Lottie works on the team. Lottie, I can't remember how long ago it was when you found us. Can you remember?
It's been 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, a long time. And I remember you finding us all those years ago, and I remember you taking part. I actually remember you taking part in these workshops, because you were like asking questions, and you were, getting involved, and I could tell that you wanted to soak it all up. And you came, didn't you, with a very, very different artwork. You were already selling, so you were already established selling.
Yeah.
It was pet portraits and figurative portraiture as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was people and pets, black and white, photorealism. And I've been doing that full time already. And the reason I was doing that was because I wanted to do a career in art. And I thought that the way to do that was to just do what you're good at and do technically good art. That's where my brain told me I had to go with it. So obviously there's nothing wrong with doing photorealism or doing pet portraits or people portraits, but I was purely doing it because I felt like I just needed to do what I was technically good at, which wasn't pushing myself, wasn't going outside of my comfort zone. I was doing what was safe for me.
Do you think sorry to interrupt, I'm just curious, because I've never asked you this. When you found the workshops, do you think that you'd recognized in that moment that you wanted to change, or was it through the workshops then that you started to realize that you wanted to change? I'm just curious, because I've never.
I don't know if there was something at a subconscious level, but I thought that I was joining the workshops to just expand my portraiture. And to get that to more people, and to go a level up with that. Whatever that may be.
I thought I remembered you joining for that reason. I
had no idea that I had anything else in me. I had no idea I could do anything else, or that I even wanted to do anything else. And the 7 Keys taught me that it gave me permission to put myself into my art, which I wasn't doing, because I was sticking very much in my safe boundaries of just replicating the photo, which to me was just comfortable and safe. All I've got to do is this. No one's going to ask me any questions about me. I don't have to divulge anything. I don't have to be vulnerable. And now, having done the 7 Keys over and over again, because I just keep coming back for more, I have got this solid foundation of asking myself what I want to put into my art, what I want to share with me, and how I want to put that out there. And it's okay to be vulnerable, but it's also, I set the boundary for myself now. I
remember you taking part in the 7 Keys, like you say, and you came with that mindset of, I'm going to learn, how to sell more of the current work that I'm making. And then I remember when you were going through the why and all of those early keys, and you started coming and going, my gosh, I don't think this is the art I want to make. I think I've got something else in me. And I remember for a while it was like, oh, I don't know what it is. And And then you started to explore that side of yourself. And then I remember when we started to think about the collections, and then you started to think about what your thread could be. You had the Uncensored project, didn't you? So Lottie created this whole theme of the Uncensored project. And that's where I think it took off for you, wasn't it? Where you then...
Absolutely. Yeah, I had this concept for an idea that was figurative. It was loose brushwork. It was physically painting, because all of my portraits were done digitally on a tablet with a pen. And suddenly I was painting on canvases, and it was this exciting journey of sharing other people's stories and getting them to open up. My Uncensored portraits were all about the nude figure. And I got, I think in the end, over 80 commissions doing that one project that I didn't even know just a couple of months before that I had in me to do. And just sharing my why got other people to share their stories with me. So we had this whole project where I had people from all over the world commissioning me to paint them and share their stories online alongside the paintings. And that just skyrocketed me into this world of opportunities where I thought, if I just go for this, I can paint what I want to paint, and there are people out there who are going to want to buy it. And before the 70s.
I think it was amazing. I'll never forget, because I think, and if I'm remembering this incorrectly, please do correct me, because I think there was, thinking back, I remember there was some fear around the fact that you'd made a living in a different art form. So you were worried, you know, if I swap now and change, would I still be able to make a living doing something completely different, which can be a big fear. There might be people sitting here now in that situation. In fact, I know there are, because there are people who said this to me in the comments, saying that I've got this art, I've already created an audience, I'm selling it, but there's something else in me and I don't know what to do. So take this as inspiration that you can change. Once you learn that framework, you can sell a different type of art. And so I also remember, Lottie, when you kind of started to make this more personal work. And I do remember you saying to me, I'm really frightened to put this on because I'm scared it's going to offend people. And I've got followers already. Can you remember what you did? I can't remember what I advised you to do. I was like, put it out there. But what did you find when you were transitioning from that? Obviously you would have lost some people along the way, but you've gained more people in terms of what you actually really want to do, haven't you?
Yeah, you advised me not to just cut and run and hope for the best, which is what I was thinking would be the advice. I thought it was, well, if this is what you're keen to be doing, then you need to just leave that behind and do this. But you advised me to transition, and I started putting my new work out there and saying, sort of teasing that this is where I was going with it. And I did keep taking on commissions for the portraiture work for a while to keep myself paid up while I was trying to figure out where I was going with this. And then once I started bringing money in from the new stuff, I started phasing out the old work and putting more and more of the new work out there until it was making a living on its own. And then I left the old stuff behind, and I did lose followers, but it was okay because they were people who weren't going to be buying my new stuff anyway. And I was bringing in people who would buy my new stuff. And I've ended up with more followers than I had before, who have stuck around because they want to see what I'm making now. And some of my customers who commissioned me in my new style are customers who also commissioned my old style. But perhaps they were buying the old style as a gift for someone else, and my new style they're buying for themselves, or vice versa. So you won't know if you don't try it. I was so scared that everyone's going to leave, no one's going to want to see this. None of the current people are going to want to see this, so I'm going to be straight back down to zero and starting from scratch. But a lot of people stuck around, and then they told other people about it, and then they followed me, and word of mouth got around, and I am now making a full-time living doing this.
Amazing, isn't it? And so I want to talk as well about how your work is still evolving. So we were just talking before we came on live, actually, about how we need to photograph Lottie's work from when she first started, then the project. Because don't forget, Lottie worked black and white, and now you can see behind her the intense colour, which is crazy. So you went from black and white to pastel to now you're evolving, aren't you? So you are now exploring a kind of new voice and new elements and. Talk to us a little bit about that, where that came. I know you took another course that we sell called Make Your Mark, and that's been influencing that direction, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back to my why. My why at that point was rediscovering who I am. I'd been through an abusive past, and I was trying to put that into my work and speak to other people who've been through similar things or had something that they wanted to put out there, a story that they needed to tell. And so I was very much coming from that place when I transitioned out of my portraits into my new paintings. And I've evolved from that place now. I'm a lot more confident as a person, and less under that dark cloud now. The sun is out, the rainbows are out, and I'm wanting to put that into my work, and I'm wanting to celebrate who I am and focus on where I'm going rather than where I've come from. That's not to say that person didn't exist, but I'm just evolving into a new phase of my life. I'm engaged, I'm happy. I've got 3 cats, everything's good. And I want to put that joy that I've got in my life into my work now. And as I said before, the 7 Keys has given me permission to put myself into my work. And actually the big piece behind me is quite literally that. So the collection that I've been doing at the moment that is moving away from painting specific people is more about painting a feeling. So I'm painting what I'm calling the Eden collection, and I'm thinking about what Eden would be like for me. What would be that perfect world? And Michelle, you talk a lot about visualizations, and I used to, as a kid, I've always had insomnia. And my mum used to put these cassette tapes on back in the day of these visualizations where you would be visualizing this calm, comforting place. And for me, it was sitting by a stream with my feet in the water, leaning against a warm, mossy rock with the sun beaming down on me. And I realized I can paint that, and I can look at it, and I can almost walk into that painting. So that's what this piece is. I painted my childhood happy place and literally put myself into the painting. There I am, like lying against the rock with my feet in the water. And it all goes back to that being given permission to share myself, and that's not sort of arrogant to sort of think that people would want a painting of my representation of myself on their wall. But actually I'm sharing that feeling of that comforting, safe, happy world. And that there are other people who are seeking that feeling too.
Oh, I love it. I love when you start to dig into the why and you start to. Someone else sent me a message saying, oh my gosh, what was it now? I've got so many screenshots. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. Something along the lines of the fact that they remembered. I talked about it in today's live, the fact that they remembered that they'd written a song 50 years ago, but they'd forgotten about it. And it was from doing the process of going through the why questions. That this lady was thinking, oh my gosh, I wrote this song, and now has brought it back and wants to create the art and the song together. And I just love this. It's this, like Annette was saying, it's ever evolving, and it's a long process, but forever. You're a creative being, and it's never going to leave you. You will evolve and learn more about your why and pull things out. And sometimes I'm walking down the street and I think, oh gosh, this is part of my why, and look now. And it's so exciting when you start to bring awareness to your why and what's happening inside, because you will start to make connections. Sharon has been an artist for 25 years. Get your bingo boards out, everyone. Oh, it makes me laugh that people sit playing bingo now of the things that I keep repeating. But Sharon like literally has been an artist for 25 years, but I walked in and she I'll never forget her face. She went, "I've just figured out my why." And it's probably the why in this moment, because, you know, in a year, your why will be different. It will change. There will be elements of the why that will remain, but ultimately, we are different people. We are experiencing different things. We are noticing things around us. We do respond to environmental and social and things that are happening in our own lives and externally as well. And all of that informs. So the more you tune in, the more you will become aligned with who you are and what actually is making you curious and what excites you. And like Lottie says, giving yourself permission to let that part of you free as well, which is what I think some people suppress because they're scared of what people will think, and if I put this out there, what, you know, will I be laughed at? So let me go to the comments. Oh, before I do, Lottie, is there a key? I know you've been doing this for a long time now, so I know you bring yourself back to this process a lot, and I can always see when you're asking questions. I can see which key you're in.
Yeah.
I can tell, like, she's in the why, and then I go, all right, she's in the who.
I need to pop myself on charge. It's beeping at me.
So is there a key that's been significant for you, or has it been all of them combined? Is there something that stands out?
It is definitely all of them, but the one that I go back to the most is the why. That exploration of what my art means to me, what I can put of myself into my art, and peeling back those layers of the onion. That's what I go back to evolve where I want to go with my art. And when I'm questioning, is this right? Should I be making it like this? Does that work? I can then go back to my why and say, well, does it fit with this that I want to be exploring it from my why? So that's how I've continued to evolve the type of art I'm making, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep evolving. I wanted to keep loosening up. I wanted to keep moving away from the tight photorealism and the black and white, and keep getting more colourful and more texture and more loose. So that's how I've done that. So my goal, for me personally, has meant going back to my why each time.
And look at the journey. It's incredible. Do you have any advice for anyone who's maybe thinking of joining? Of course, you'll see Lottie a lot inside the program because you work on the team. Just big thank you, Lottie, as well, because Lottie, you'll have seen Lottie in the comments, and of course, thank you to the whole of the team. But Lottie, you've been incredible commenting and replying to everyone, so thank you.
It's a pleasure. I love doing it, and that's why I do. I'm so passionate about the 7 keys. I do come back every time and delve right in. And I would say it is the most amazing journey. And it's not just about your art. You'll explore things about yourself that you didn't realize. It applies to all aspects of your life. You suddenly start thinking, does this fit with my why? Does that fit with my why? Do I want to take on this opportunity in all kinds of different ways? It is so exciting, and you will meet the most amazing people, and the community. I love our community so much. And that's why I love being in the comments and chatting to you all.
Everyone's so lovely.
And everyone supports each other. If I wasn't there, everyone would still be super supportive. And it's not just the team and everyone else is silent. The community engages with each other and supports each other and keeps each other accountable and inspired. And apart from David,
the Joker,
troublemaker in the naughty corner. But no, they are genuinely all just the most incredible people, and that alone can lead to opportunities that you've never thought of. The volume of ideas that we have in that one community is just immeasurable. And the amount of resources in the hub that's constantly being added to, and in the 7 keys that's constantly being updated, and there's so much exciting content always coming. United ArtSpace as a whole is just It's my home now.
Oh, it's amazing. It's good to have you part of the journey, and thank you for sharing that. I'm going to check the comments now. If anyone's got any questions, let me know. I love doing these sessions. Yeah, someone says here, it's wonderful to hear from so many of you. Let me just see. The free workshops are the first time I've let anyone other than my family see my artwork. I understand where Nina was originally. Yeah. And look where Nina is now. And Lottie, oh my gosh, Lottie wouldn't. I remember when Lottie first came on the live session, she wouldn't put a video on, a camera on. And now she runs my Friday studio sessions. So just shows how much you can really develop your confidence through this framework as well. In fact, when I've researched people to ask how it's helped them, the biggest thing that people have said is confidence. Confidence in making my art, confidence in calling myself an artist, confidence in knowing my people, confidence in speaking about my work, confidence in pricing, confidence in actually getting myself out there. That's what everyone, it all comes back to the confidence to do all of this in the first place. It's massive. So Anka says, yes, I need help getting a shop open. You can use this to do that, this framework. Susan says, I love what Nina said. I'm worried about the money, but the drive in me is about feeling a need to create. Nina's heartfelt words really made so much sense. Absolutely. Kat says, my who is not who I thought it was. Up until a month ago, I thought I was doing Yorkshire Dale stuff because it is closer. Oh, this is exciting. So you're starting to unearth some part of you. Hey, Lloyd. Oh, it's good to see you here. Love the 7 keys. Sarah says, I had a dream about turning right, following my intuition and getting a much needed shot in the arm. Yeah, so I'd better sign up. Yay! Judy says, such inspirational talks, like C.S. Lewis said about the books and reading in the film Shadowlands. We read to know we're not alone. I think it applies to art. We can feel really lonely, like Annette said. Yeah, it's so lovely to meet like-minded people. We make art to know we're not alone. The world always needs people to make art, part of being human. Absolutely. And I think this process, like Annette was saying, about us all being on our different pathways. If you're scared about being judged, please don't, because we do a big thing at the beginning and we ask everyone to please not judge the others inside the group. Don't judge anyone else's artwork. We're not here to judge each other. We're here to work through this framework and support each other and help people find the art within themselves and get it out into the world. And because we have that in place, it is a very, very supportive community. I think you all vouch for that the group is really supportive. Yeah. And we're not here to judge you. And we've had people make a certain type of art and a year later it's completely different. So we're not going to judge you based on the art that you're making now, because quite frankly, that's not our job. Our job is to get you confident about it and get you to where it is that you want to be. Let me see. Yeah, someone says here that my who are not sorry, my family are not my who. Yeah. Yes, you can watch this on a replay. Oh, someone says, Lena says here, twice I've tried to set up the business and I've run away because I've got overwhelmed. Oh, big thanks to you. Just got to block someone here. Just bear with me. There we go. Lottie's usually in the comments doing that. Okay, I read your comment out earlier. Oh, Kat says here, I had a breakthrough after my lunch. A friend, Lorraine, knows Snowdonia National Park. She's given me a list of maps and books to help where all the peaks are in relation to each other. Brilliant. I'm glad that you've got that breakthrough. One of my reasonings for investing in myself and my art is that it potentially becomes more expensive holding on to so much artwork I've already created. Yeah, you want to get it out there and sell it. Absolutely. Trevor's asking, I do have a lot of writing too. Can I apply this to the 7 keys? Yeah, Lottie, actually, I've just remembered, Lottie, you had poems, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I've forgotten as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, you can apply it to written. I mean, I teach visual arts, but we do have a lot of people in our community that use poetry and written written art forms. I'm using this for my book. So I'm using the 7 keys. Most of my work now is written, I have to say. It's not visual. Most of my work is written. So I can definitely help you along with that. Absolutely. So let me just see. Sarah said I haven't found my pineapple yet. My whole house smells of pineapple now, which is great. Yeah, comment here, Michelle. Thank you again for sharing all this information with us. I'm looking forward to applying what I've learned. Absolutely, go for it. Oh, Rachel says you are all great, and I hope I'll be like you all.
Well,
You will.
You will. Follow the steps. Let me just see. Kat says my art has become bolder and more abstract over the past few weeks. Freer, brilliant, because of the workshops. I love that. I love that Lottie has been through a transformation. So encouraging. Troy says I'm over committed. I'm so scared, but I'm really keen to do this. I did the Bonnie Christine course and there was no support. You get unbelievable support in this course. We assign you with a rep. So everybody gets assigned a rep who is your point of contact throughout the course and will support you. And every rep has taken the 7 keys time and time again. They know the 7 keys better than I do. And so you honestly, I've never ever heard anyone come out of our program and say they didn't feel supported. We go really above and beyond. So I don't think you'll have that. But you've got 2 weeks to sign up and it's not for you. You can leave. So
I'll be there giving you support.
that helps relieve the fear, Victoria. Please reach out to us if you've got any questions. I can put you in touch with reps or members if you'd like to ask them a question rather than me. But please reach out if you've got anything. I don't want you to hold back because of being scared. There are some people here that genuinely can't afford it, and I get that. If you cannot afford it and it's going to put you into a financial crisis, then don't sign up. What I'd prefer you to do is put it on your vision board and set your sights on doing it next year and save or find any way to manifest the money. But if you can, we've had people sell artwork and go, I need to do this course. And they've gone and sold 2 pieces of artwork to pay for the course. So, if there's a way that you can make it happen and it's meant to be, you'll find a way, is what I would say. But if it's because you're scared, then, reach out to us, because I've been doing this for years. I've created a whole playlist, SOS playlist, based on these fears. And lots of people have said how they were terrified and then they were so glad they did it. So let me just read on. I've got a couple more minutes left and then we'll wrap up. So good to hear the whys. Yeah, Gail, it's nice, isn't it, to hear from artists and hear how they approach the 7 keys. So Steph says, I've sold 2D work, but I want to change to 3D. I'm scared to change. So like Lottie shared here, don't be scared. You can do it. You can transition from one to the other. You don't have to just make that jump. Francis says, yeah, I'm drawing photorealism, pet portraits. I seem to be good at it, but I know that there are more bright, loose, coloured acrylic paintings inside me. Oh, it's exciting that you're going to let that out.
Get them out.
Yeah. Victoria, lovely comment for all of you there, just saying how lovely it is to hear your stories. Yes, big thank you. Mary Lynn's asking, is there a module with the course where students actually go to a marketplace with their work? I'm interested that Lottie actually found clients by going down her own route. How did she find clients? So I'll just answer the first bit and then I'll switch to Lottie. So we don't have a specific marketplace where we say, go to Etsy, go here, because there is no one where or Etsy works for some people, it doesn't work for others. So I will give you lots of advice on the where when we get to that point in the course. But this really helps you find your own where, your own pathway, because it is different for everybody. It might be that you go down online gallery routes. It might be that you sell in person through exhibitions. It might be that you license your work. There are so many ways that you can sell your artwork. You can just do it yourself on social media with a PayPal me link. There's so many options. And when you go through the 7 keys, you'll start to get a feel for this is what it's the purpose. This is where I want to see my work. I want to see it online, or I want to see it in person. I want to engage with people. We'll ask you the right questions to get to the bottom of where you want to put it. And then when we go through the keys, we'll, in that where section, we do have an ebook that tells you all the types of places like licensing and agents, and it gives you lots of ideas that you've probably never even considered before. And then from that ebook, we can start to circle the 1 to 3 places that you would really like to put your work, and then we give you the steps to go out and put it there in that spot. So I hope that makes sense. Lottie, how did you find your clients when you were transitioning into your new area of artwork? Can you cast your mind back?
It was about finding my who, which was a case of sharing my why. I chose to be really vulnerable and share what I'd gone through really openly, and in doing that, I was then asking people to do the same if they felt inclined to, and share their story with me. So it was kind of an open invitation for people to take part in this project that I was doing. So it was quite a specific way of doing it because of the project that I was doing. And the work that I'm doing at the moment is it's coming from the same place, but it's a different type of work. So I'm now going through it all again, taking this work through the 7 keys and seeing where I get to with finding an evolved who and where. But the course takes you through it. The course takes you through how to find the place for that artwork. And I don't yet know where any of this stuff's going to go. None of this has even been shared for sale yet. I just needed to get it out there. I just needed to get these pieces onto canvas. So I'm learning with you all. The way that I sold that collection will be different to how I sell this one. It's different for every person and for every why and every what.
I do remember you doing a lot of work on social media, and I remember Lottie going through the 7 keys and finding the right hashtags to use based on her why, and networking in groups as well where her work would be well received. And I remember Lottie really going out and having conversations with people. Again, so the
power hours were key.
Power hours, you were power houring like crazy. I remember that. Karen says, I'm going to wrap up because we've gone 1 minute over. I don't know if David's here with the clock. I've just had a light bulb moment. A counsellor once asked me if my art is a form of disassociation. I'm realising it absolutely has been since childhood. Maybe this is why I'm feeling stuck and finding it difficult to find my why. What a big discovery. I love that you've just had that with us now. Teresa says, I did this course last year and I was petrified. I applied as much of the 7 keys as I could. Last week, I discovered that I've sold 19 paintings in a gallery. Woohoo! A year ago, being in a gallery was one of my goals and fears. The course is unbelievable. Thank you for everything, Michelle and team. I love it. That's amazing. There's just so many success stories coming through recently. It blows my mind, which shows you the art world isn't dead. Even though we're going through a tough time right now, people are still buying artwork. There is still an art market. There is still potential to do this. Don't let that fear of what's happening in the news put you off doing this. There are people buying art. We've never had so many people sharing that, in fact, since I've been doing this. So, right, thank you so much. Lots of people, said, wow, that was amazing. It was. Thank you to Nina, Annette and Lottie for sharing, taking time out. I'm really, really happy you came and shared that. It's been helpful for me and for everyone else tuning in. So I really appreciate you all. I'll put your links because no doubt people want to check out your work and follow you. So I'll put those in the comments. And thank you. If you want to take part in the 7 keys course, the link is above. And we have that fast action bonus where I'll be doing a social media webinar for the first people to sign up in the first 24 hours. So please let us know if you have any questions. Let us know in the comments, or if you go onto the 7 keys page where we are selling the course, there's a little button at the bottom. You can click that and send us a question there. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you all soon. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay.